Welcome to the Skyburst Podcast. My name is Zayne. In this episode, we take a closer look at the Skywatcher Project, a new and ambitious attempt to bring scientific discipline to one of the most controversial subjects of our time, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs. If what Skywatcher is documenting holds up to scientific scrutiny, it could reshape how we understand our skies, our history, and our place in the universe. Let's take a look at some of the key people involved, because understanding who they are helps explain why this project matters. First, there's Dr. Gary Nolan, a Stanford immunologist, inventor, and Nobel Prize nominee. He's known for groundbreaking work in cancer diagnostics, but in recent years, he's also become one of the few mainstream scientists willing to take the UAP issue seriously. Nolan brings a unique mix to the table: deep academic credentials, experience analyzing anomalous biological samples, and, as he shared publicly, even a personal encounter with the phenomena that's changed his view. Then there's Barber, a former special operations pilot who's claimed direct encounters with UAPs in the field. Barber brings military-grade tactical awareness and has allegedly been part of retrieval operations involving landed craft. His role on the team isn't just about aviation, it's about knowing how to respond when something unexpected enters the airspace. And then we have Fred Baker, a decorated veteran Delta Force pilot. Baker is no stranger to high-stakes environments. In Skywatcher, he plays a key role in field logistics and airborne observation. If something moves in the sky, Baker is trained to spot it, follow it, and react in real time. So these just aren't fringe personalities. These are serious people with serious backgrounds, and they're lending their names, their time, and their reputations to something they believe could be historically important. Today, we're diving into Skywatcher's second major field investigation, mapping the unknown. In this chapter, the Skywatcher team moves beyond their initial claims and focuses directly on data. Their objective is simple but ambitious: to apply scientific structure to UAP investigation, to collect, organize, and eventually expose their findings to independent scientific review. This isn't about chasing lights in the sky, it's about gathering enough structured, repeatable evidence that serious institutions now cannot afford to look away. But gathering that evidence isn't easy. Skywatcher Part 2 is their first public step towards showing what they've collected, and it raises just as many questions as it tries to answer. Have a look at how Skywatcher frames their mission.
In Part 1 of Skywatcher, you heard a lot of very believable people making truly unbelievable claims. Skywatcher's objective is to use the scientific method to validate or invalidate these claims and hopefully usher in a new understanding of reality.
Behind any serious investigation, there's always a builder, someone who designs the foundation others stand on. For Skywatcher, that builder is James Fowler. Until now, Fowler's role has been relatively low profile, but in this second field operation, he steps forward for the first time. Over several years, Fowler has led a small team building what he describes as the highest quality private repository of UAP data in the world. His background isn't in UFO folklore, it's in systems engineering, defense contracting, and government technology development. This project, at least from his side, is not about belief, it's about measurable facts. Skywatcher has logged over 300 UAP incursions recorded by radar, optics, and other instruments, and now they're preparing to open their data for independent review. Let's take a moment to hear directly from Fowler himself.
This isn't a spiritual activity for us. This isn't emotional. This is strictly facts and data driven, and we've tried very hard to keep it that way. We've had over 300 sorties now of UAP incursions into our airspace where we're working.
Can I quickly interrupt a sortie just for the benefit of the audience? That's an individual flight over that you tracked with your sensors. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so I call a sortie when we have an observation of a class of UAP moving through our airspace. That class might be in a flock. We've seen flocks of up to 20 plus. And we also have singletons that move through. Like today we had 2 class 7s move through. So each one by itself would be a sortie. So we've seen hundreds of UAPs. Perhaps we're running an event and we have 200 sorties in a day. We don't know if that's one aircraft seeing 190 times more, or if that's 200 separate airframes or aircraft or UAPs or whatever they are moving through our airspace separately. So we just call it a sortie and accept what we don't know, and accept that, hey, as an observation from a technology perspective and science perspective, this is one set of data. So we're actively working with and seeking more third-party, non-ufologists, physicists, scientists, academia. We want them to come and analyze our data and produce third-party independent analysis.
In most scientific investigations, researchers observe passively. Skywatcher takes a different approach. They're actively trying to provoke responses. Think about what that could mean. First, through machine calling, broadcasting high-frequency electromagnetic signals via their dogwhistle system. And second, through psionic calling, using trained individuals they describe as psionic assets who appear to predict the phenomena. Both methods are experimental and both are controversial, and both, according to Skywatcher, are producing results. In the next clip, listen to how they describe these methods.
We have turned on our equipment that we've customized and created what we believe is a dog whistle, and UAPs show up. So through that process, we started a systematic cause and effect, if you will, experimentation. And we've arrived at some very custom capabilities that when we deploy these capabilities, we get different UAP responses. Every time we turn on this equipment and do the things we need to do for the right amount of time, we get a response every time.
We're focused on two different types of UAP calling. We have machine calling and we have psionic calling. We've had success with both of these different types.
Skywatcher's encounters reveal patterns in UAP characteristics, and patterns demand structure. They've created 9 identifiable classes based on their observations. Each class is based on observable characteristics. Check this out.
We've been collecting UAP data for more than 5 years with electromechanical signaling, which we call our dog whistle. Generally speaking, we see 3 to 5 different classes of UAP per day during operations. After we turn on the dog whistle, UAPs literally come to us day after day. To make sense of our data, we had to define a lexicon, and we based it on flight characteristics. We've broken the UAPs down into 9 classes or types. Some of these classes may be the same UAP under different flight configurations, but at this point, given their behavior, we're confident they don't align with conventional or terrestrial explanations.
Each UAP class has different characteristics. Some shimmer, some tumble, some spin. Some look like they're alive and they just fly like a living object in the sky.
UAPs are extremely hard to image. What is seen with the naked eye is generally not what is seen under camera.
The class 1 often spins, tumbles through the sky. Craft looks like a black body. It appears to flash, pulse multiple times per second. There appears to be some kind of cloud or vapor around it. We've seen class 1s in formations up to 22, 23, flying in different flight formations, different flock formations. The class 2 is the classic tic-tac. We've seen it in groups of 2 to 3, often flying very erratically. We've seen these a couple years in a row, and usually we see them in groups. The class 3, the blob, a pulsing, vibrating cloud. There's something, maybe perhaps a cylinder kind of in the middle that has a different light like a flame, and then it vibrates and pulses as it moves through space. The class 4 is your orb. We've only seen it in infrared. The class 4 seems to only come during certain activities in conjunction with perhaps the class 1. We don't have enough data yet to confirm. The class 5 we call the manta ray. It seems to tumble and rotate as it moves through the sky. Class 6 is bright star. That one vibrates very, very fast. It literally looks like a crystal in the sky. The class 7 is the jellyfish. It's probably about 2 meters across. The head is purple and black in color, and then it has tentacles. The class 8 we call the hornet. It looks very similar to the class 7, the jellyfish, except for it's bigger, and it's almost like a jellyfish carrying something. And then the class 9 is the egg. The class 9 isn't something we have a lot of data on. It's very limited. We have it as Skywatcher during our California event. It's an emerging class, and we have strong evidence that it probably exists, but we don't have data to concisely describe it.
Capturing UAPs isn't simple. What you see with your eyes isn't always what the cameras capture. Here are some of the challenges Skywatcher faces when imaging these objects.
We have things happen that I truly cannot explain. We and the rest of our team are doing our very best to collect a robust set of data to share with all of you, but I hope you can understand that it's not as easy as it sounds. We're talking about objects that seemingly are able to appear and disappear in real time. We're talking about objects that seem to evade our sensors. They seem to actually turn our sensors off at times. And I can say firsthand that crazy shit keeps happening. I consider myself to be a very logical, rational person. This rabbit hole, the rabbit hole of UAPs and consciousness, has been hands down the craziest experience of my life.
We have seen these take direct flight paths. Even yesterday, for the first time, we had two in formation. We've never seen that before. We chased down one of those two, and it deviated its flight path as we approximated, and then it elevated directly straight up, as in directly vertical. We have multiple indications that this is a real object, that is not man-made, and that it is flying through our airspace and does want to avoid us. The Class 2 is the classic tic-tac. We have had laser rangefinder returns on them to give us distance. And through that method and the optical zoom, we are able to measure, we think they're about 40 feet in length, and they appear to be traveling supersonic and hypersonic. A very interesting thing, which you'll see in the videos, is when we do see them, they're at the edge of our sensor capabilities.
And at this point, is it dropping rapidly?
Yes, the only thing that's changing is the angle that we're looking at it with.
The elevation angle, is that right?
Yes, and we're moving in a downward fashion. The system operator is having a very hard time keeping in frame because it's falling so fast.
Dropping fast.
So you can't zoom in, and our servos don't move that fast, so our equipment can't handle that zoom factor with the speed. You'll see multiple UAPs in these, as in they're flying together. I don't know that they're in a formation. You know, if you go frame by frame, you can see their cylinders.
Wow.
So that's the Class 2.
Fascinating.
Before each mission, Skywatcher measures electromagnetic fields and atmospheric conditions, setting a baseline for their readings. This step is crucial, otherwise how can you know what is truly anomalous? With hundreds of sightings being recorded, some strange patterns have emerged. Now, here's a concept that's even more controversial, combining technology and the human mind. Watch how the psionic team seems to predict UAP appearances before the instruments even detect them.
On day 3, around noon, our radar started to detect a Class 2 tic-tac.
We had our SIs who had just finished doing their thing, and one of them had brought up the fact that something was going to come from a very specific direction. He had a really good feeling about a specific location.
There have been multiple instances of the psionic team predicting when the machine calling and the radar team will actually sense an object.
Sometimes technology fails, sensors black out, helicopters stall mid-air. Here's a real case Skywatcher captured. What do you think is happening here?
We sent the helo out to intercept the tic-tac, but the first attempt failed because our radar was being jammed by the Class 7 Jellyfish.
Where were we in the sky the first time you saw that? That was when we were 7 kilometers or so out to the northwest, 340 at that spot that we went to.
And he kept trying to climb, and it wouldn't let us.
Our helicopter launched, and about a half mile out, the helicopter stopped moving. Engines running, blades are turning, but it would not go forward, it would not go up, it would not go left or right, it was stuck there.
So we're kind of, imagine like a blanket above us, it's like pressing us down.
So maybe we were in proximity to it. It was saying, don't come any higher.
Yeah, that's
Because that was when I told you guys elevate, right? That's fascinating.
We were called out to intercept an object that was found on radar. We went to the location it was supposed to be at. We circled a couple times and were requested to climb another 1,000 feet. The instrumentation started to bounce and the collective basically was frozen. I've never experienced anything like that before. I've got over 4,000 hours of flight time, and this has never happened before.
So we don't know how they're jamming us. We don't know how they're turning our equipment off yet. Best guess would be a microwave signal. We're not seeing it on the frequencies we're using for our collection equipment.
The dogwhistle system remains central to their method. Let's dive into how this custom signal could be shaping encounters.
James, could you explain just a little, go into maybe a little bit more depth on this dog whistle, this apparent capability or technological element that potentially appears to attract UAP?
We have turned on our equipment that we've customized and created what we believe is a dog whistle, and UAPs show up. So through that process, we started a systematic cause and effect, if you will, experimentation. And we've arrived at some very custom capabilities that when we deploy these capabilities, we get different UAP responses. Every time we turn on this equipment and do the things we need to do for the right amount of time, we get a response every time.
Another strange twist is that many UAPs don't behave like solid objects. Watch closely. Is this technology or something else?
The class 2 is the classic tic-tac. We have had laser rangefinder returns on them to give us distance. And through that method and the optical zoom, we are able to measure. We think they're about 40 feet in length, and they appear to be traveling supersonic and hypersonic. A very interesting thing, which you'll see in the videos, is when we do see them, they're at the edge of our sensor capabilities. You'll see like there's striations around these stills, and sometimes it almost looks like it bends, almost like it's not a solid mass. So when it's spinning, when it comes out of the spin, for a second, it looks like part of it, like probably a third of it, is bendable and it bends.
One class in particular, the Jellyfish, keeps showing up. Check out the interesting visuals they've captured of this form.
So what you're gonna see is it's kind of, I'll call it swimming in through the sky. There aren't a lot of exotic colors. There is reflectivity, but that color you see right there is very akin to the class 6 when it's not emitting high energy or whatever it's doing. So when it's not vibrating. So we don't know what that means. And you can kind of start to see now the tentacles hanging down as it moves. In IR, they're very obvious. They're less obvious in EO. So we have multiple indications that this is a real object, that is not man-made, and that it is flying through our airspace and does want to avoid us.
Skywatcher invites independent scientists to review their data because peer review matters. And they are calling for a wider scientific community to get involved. Skywatcher doesn't offer conclusions, just data. If UAPs are real, measurable, and interacting, we could be standing at the edge of a deeper reality. And it's only just the beginning. If you enjoyed this dive into the anomalous and would like to see more of our upcoming videos, please like and subscribe to the Skyburst Podcast. It really helps us. Big thanks to the Skywatcher team. All footage and research discussed today comes from their incredible work. I highly recommend you check out the full-length video. Link to their channel in the description below. All right, folks. Stay curious, stay critical, and stay tuned for more episodes. Cheers.